Great. You guys can go ahead and take over.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Katie, you have come up with an amazing meal. I think it is. And every single ingredient is heart healthy.
I know, right?
And almost every single ingredient is
And
diabetes
tasty.
friendly and tasty. Tasty is the biggest thing. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. When we talk about the nutritional,
Yeah.
right?
It's pretty carb heavy.
It's pretty carb. Well,
Yeah.
maybe, right? So
Is that what you were meaning? Or?
I wasn't going to say carb heavy because I think it's carb
friendly,
moderate, carb friendly, but the carbs are coming from the tortillas.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So what you see on the nutritional information is regular tortillas.
Mm-hmm.
If you eat tortillas, you know that there are tons of different kinds out there. You can get carb friendly.
Definitely.
And we were talking about these great cauliflower shells at Trader Joe's. And they are kid approved and adult approved. And I highly recommend those for when you try this recipe.
For sure. So if you guys have any carb friendly tortillas that you like, feel free to pop them in the chat. We always like to try new things. So if you don't know what we're making today, if you haven't looked at the recipe that was sent out, we are going to be making Chipotle cauliflower tacos. We're going to make a quick guacamole to go with it. I've already fire roasted a jalapeno to throw in there. So that's really delicious. And then we're going to do kind of a variation of a citrus salad that we did on our diabetes demo not too long ago. As a nice way to pack in some extra veggies and greens and just some freshness and a little sweetness to kind of counteract that spiciness that comes off of the Chipotles.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, so we'll go ahead and just hop right into it. I'm going to pan down a little bit while we make our little, it's kind of batter almost that we're going to create. I like that because it gives a little bit more body to the cauliflower.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
I was interested to see what you were going to do with cauliflower. Cauliflower is so popular right now. And I think sometimes when I look at the recipes, it's not very exciting.
Yeah.
So I think this one is exciting.
I think so too. It's also a really great and easy one to when we did diabetes friendly for tailgate. Like almost over a year ago.
Yes.
We did a buffalo cauliflower and this was kind of similar. We created a little batter and lightly coated them. So they're not like dipped and fried in a batter,
Right.
but it's just enough to kind of give it a little bit more body when you're roasting
So
it.
while you're doing that, Katie, I'm going to jump on the chat and I'm going to put a link to our diabetes friendly demo because when you do that, then you can also go to the Google Doc where all those recipes are.
For sure. Okay. All right, so we've got our flour in our bowl that we're starting with here. And like I said, we're just creating a little bit of a batter. So we're looking for kind of a pancake-like consistency. I forgot to put tomato paste on the recipe sheet. It would be fine without it because you're gonna have the Chipotles, it's gonna have the flavor. But if you'd like a little bit more of a tomatoey zing to it, add like 1 to 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. I personally really enjoy the little kind of like caramelization that occurs with the natural sweetness of those tomatoes. So I don't know if you guys have worked much with canned Chipotles. Chipotles are just smoked and dried jalapenos, and they're packed in this adobo sauce. So this sauce is so flavorful, and I'm just going to go ahead and put about 1 to 2 tablespoons of that in here. We're doing half of the recipe that you guys have on the paper because we don't need it to feed 6 people. So if my portions look a little smaller than the one that you see in there, that's why. I also have a little bit of water, and we're just gonna add that water, like I said, until we get kind of like a pancake-like consistency. Just add and add.
So you're just doing it by feel and look, right?
Yes, correct. I did not put a quantity on there. You just kind of want to go with it. Because if you don't add the tomato paste, then you're probably going to need a little bit less water. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that smells yummy.
It is so good.
It smells like a taco.
And then we're going to go ahead and slice open our lime here. So I'm just going to roll that a little bit to get some flavor rolling through there and just get the juices moving. We'll slice it in half and then just give your half of the lime a squeeze to get some juice out. If it's not going very well and you have some tongs handy, just go ahead and put the half of the lime like this and then squeeze. And then you'll see all that juice come out. Just a little bit easier. Tips and tricks, right? You like the tips and tricks. So this is looking about the consistency that you want it to be. You want it to be like a batter that would kind of drip a little bit, but you don't want it to be like really loose. So we'll set that off to the side while we break down our cauliflower. So we've got cauliflower here. We're gonna also chop up some onion. And for the cauliflower, we're just gonna go in and kind of cut out this big core piece. And then you want them in like medium-sized florets. Think about the fact that you're gonna be eating this in a taco. So if you have one this big, it's not gonna be easy to, you know, pop that on a small tortilla and then enjoy that. These are also really great if you make extra and then you want to do like a taco salad later in the week or something like that.
Or with a dip or something?
Yes, yeah, with a dip would be great too. But it's really great if you have like a big head of cauliflower, if you want to do extra just to have some throughout the week. Just keep that in mind because I really love just doing the work once and then having that later on to pull from.
Yeah, absolutely. One-time cleanup for me.
Yes, for sure. So we're going for larger chunks of the onion because we're going to roast all of this in the oven. And I don't want these to burn before my cauliflower cooks all the way through. So we're going to kind of cut it into large sections here. This piece on the outside is a little.
Yeah, you know what? I always take off the outside, no matter if it has the papery.
Yes.
Because it's always tougher.
I took one layer off, but this just goes to show sometimes you don't know until you get into it. I could tell my knife was kind of struggling on that like papery outer piece. So I knew I needed to take one more layer off.
That's a good tip.
So go ahead and just throw those chunks in there. Try not to break them up too much. And then just, you can adjust. So we're going for chunks like this. You can adjust however you like. If you don't like a lot of onion, that's fine. You can leave that off to the side. No big deal.
It'd be nice to get the little ones that burn just a little.
I do like a little crisp.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
That looks pretty.
So it gives a nice coating here. And like I said, it's not like you're like really dipping everything in there. And then if you have, so this is plenty that I can go ahead and add our beans into it to coat. Sometimes, like when I did the full recipe, it was a larger head of cauliflower than the one that I have.
You never know what size you're gonna get.
And so I wasn't as worried about coating the chickpeas and the corn, but I wanted to make sure that the cauliflower got all of that in there. So I just ended up adding that after the fact to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray the pan that we're gonna roast it in. Normally at home, I'd use a long baking tray and I just line it with either parchment or like a Silpat. I love my Silpat. And then we'll just dump this guy in here.
Hey, so you don't mind that they're close together when they're roasting?
I don't mind. I would prefer them being a little bit more spread out, but this is the space I have to work with, honestly.
So it just goes to show, no matter what you have at home, for this recipe, you don't need anything special.
You really don't. You really don't.
As long as you can get it in there.
Yes. And the other key is a high temp. So I have my oven set to 450 degrees. Last night, I ended up bumping it up to when I tested it out, and I ended up being at about 500 for the last 5 minutes. So I would say you could even go to 475 and it'll cook in about 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay, great. So that also speaks to if you just adjust it to what time you have.
Yes.
Higher temperature, shorter amount of time, and you can be watching it, but you could also do lower temp. Like let's say I want to go do something.
For sure.
While it's cooking. Okay.
You definitely can.
Awesome.
All right, so we'll clean up that stuff and kind of get that situated. And then we're gonna go into our quick guacamole. Guac is really not something you need to overthink. We're literally just gonna add these 3 ingredients. And then I did a fire roasted jalapeno because I like a little spice. I don't know about you, but
I like it.
I like the depth of flavor. Fire roasting it kind of mellows that kick out a little bit, but adds like smoky
Yeah,
to it.
there's more flavor. It's more flavorful.
I agree. You can smell it too. You can smell that char.
Oh
coming
yeah,
off
you
of
can
it.
definitely can. Yeah, and I watched you do it. It's not, it's, I can tell you that if any of you do it at home on your burners at home, you're doing it the right way. I watched the chef do it.
Yeah, you literally just put it on top of, so I have a little mobile burner here. And so I don't have the little top that spreads out over it very well. So I put a little baking rack on top of it, and then I just placed this directly over the flame and charred the outside of it. Then I covered it with some saran wrap to let it kind of steam. So you'll see kind of what that does to the overall pepper in just a second. Nice, Jenny.
I know, I just thought, why not? You can get it from both angles.
Yeah, double duty. All right, so we're gonna take our avocado, turn our avocado around our knife. Woo, that popped out there real quick. Then I just got a little bit of a bruise on the inside, so I'll scoop that part out. And then we'll just put this in our bowl here. You can just take the avocado and push on the back and the pit will come out. You don't have to take your knife to the pit and possibly hit your hand if you're not that comfortable with it. All right, so we've got that guy. We've got our lime. I'm gonna take that again.
Boy, I like how you're doing that.
Do the little tongue trick. Yeah, I should have not for the batter when we added lime juice to it.
Great.
Sometimes limes can be tough to get the juice out of, I feel like. All right, so then we're gonna go with a little bit of our onion. So this was a large onion. The recipe called for a small onion, and you'll use all of that small onion. But this onion was pretty large. So I just cut it in half. We used about 3/4 of this half for the actual roasted part. And then we're gonna mince up, which is just to chop really fine, a little bit of this onion that we'll put in this guac. Now, if you think red onions are too pungent for you, just use like a sweet white onion, that's fine too. Or you can actually take this red onion and soak it in water.
We have a question.
Yeah.
It says, is there a way to do that without a gas burner? And I can say I've done it on an electric burner.
Yeah, you can do it in like, if you have, you could do it literally just on like a cast iron skillet. That's what I was gonna recommend, because we're gonna do the same thing with the tortillas. You can char it on that, or you can just broil it in the oven as well.
Yes.
We often forget about our broilers, but they can be a really great way to achieve the same thing.
If you're somebody who doesn't pay attention, the broiler might be a scary thing to you.
It's true, it's very true. I actually had
Quite
a
a few
student
things.
one time who just thought that the little drawer underneath was just a little storage drawer.
Oh, okay.
And then she put her oven mitts in there.
Oh, shoot.
Needless to say, there was a fire department call for her on that one.
She was not invited back.
She was, well, it was her apartment, so who knows?
So another
Who
thing about
knows?
including some spice to your meals is that it increases metabolism.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
So
that.
that's a kind of a nice benefit to that as well.
I love the spice.
So you're getting the seeds out of there. I like the way you did that.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of seed out of there. And then we have this flat pepper to work with. You really want to try to make sure you don't get any seeds left on there, because they're an unlucky surprise when you happen to bite on one of them. They're not soft enough for you to really break down. So you end up like, oh, I
there's
just
that,
got a
and
pepper.
it's spicy.
Yes, exactly. So then you can easily just take your knife down the side, make little julienne cuts that way, and then come this way and make our little cuts to have in a fancy term, a brunoise.
I think you probably got an A+ on your knife skills.
It took a while. I wasn't perfect.
Really?
At least,
That
yeah,
was perfect.
I know, but I've also been doing this for a while. We also are gonna have some cilantro. So I'm just gonna,
Which
Cut a
could be
chunk of
left
that
out, or you can use parsley,
yes,
right? For those of you who
definitely.
taste soap.
Yes, if you are a soapy cilantro person, don't force yourself. It's in your genetics. You can't help it.
It's not your fault.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
this
then
is
throw it in
looking really
there.
beautiful. And so full. I mean, when you see all those colors, you just know it's healthy.
Right, and then we're just gonna salt, pepper. You can omit the salt if you're really trying to watch that. But there's really not a ton in this recipe. We've really put just a sprinkle on the cauliflower and then a sprinkle in here. And we rinsed our beans off so that we could get some of the sodium off of those. But you can also cook them from dry if you're looking to really cut down on your sodium content. Because with beans, obviously, they do come with that added brine that tends to make them a little bit harder to like fit in a heart healthy diet sometimes when you're looking at like your sodium levels, right?
Yeah. And I have gotten no salt.
Yes.
Beans.
I haven't been able to find them regularly.
Yeah, I find that too.
I find them with the green beans. It's easier for me to find them no salt added, but actual like, you know, chickpeas or black beans.
Beans are harder.
Yeah, I can't seem to find it. All right, let's try this, Jenny. Make sure we're
okay. Twist my arm.
I know, right?
This is why I'm here, folks, to keep her straight with her flavors.
You think it needs any more salt? You think it's good?
I think it's okay.
All right.
I do. And that was just a tiny bit. That wasn't even an eighth of a teaspoon of salt.
Oh yeah, it was literally just a pinch.
Yeah.
So are you ready to help me make a salad that's going to go with this?
I'm ready. I'm your vinaigrette girl.
Vinaigrette girl. All right, so the basics of a good vinaigrette are going to be emulsifiers. We need things that are going to keep our vinaigrette together. So we've got some spicy ground mustard. Yep. And some honey, which you can omit the honey if you don't want to add the added sugar, but we're putting such a small amount in, it's really not that big of a deal.
Or you can use agave syrup, which is a lower glycemic index.
Would you like to do that?
Yeah, let's do that.
We'll do some agave.
Yeah, sweet.
And then let's see, we've got a lemon that we're going to use for our acid.
Okay.
And you've got your garlic. So let me get a knife that does not have, so I want to chill all over it. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Do you need larger gloves?
I could do it. I can do it.
You can shove them in there. We can make this work.
Okay.
All right, I'll smash our garlic here. We'll get that going. Any questions currently?
I just see people commenting about what we talked about before, and really use the chat if you have questions, but also if you have some suggestions, what you would do with that guacamole, what you would do with the recipe that Katie has put in the oven, what changes would you make to make it your own or to suit your family's preference?
Yeah.
All right, you smash the garlic.
Right, so I smashed the garlic. So if you just want to give that a mince with your knife there, I'll move these out of the way. And then you can throw them in your bowl over there. I'll get you a little whisk for that. And then on our salad, so the recipe I gave was like an arugula.
Yes.
But I ended up just getting a baby spring mix because that sounded good. So you can use whatever greens you like. I would recommend like tender greens for this. Honestly, I think that like the spinach, the spring mix, the spinach arugula blends are gonna
Like babies, baby greens.
Yes, baby greens.
Like a baby kale you could use because that tends to be. Okay.
Yes, for sure.
All right, I think that's good enough.
All right, so pop that guy in there and then bring it over here and we'll add just the tiniest little bit. Ooh, my mustard had a moment.
As it does.
As it does. We all have our moments. All right, so we got mustard and our agave in there. And they're very small amounts, right?
I mean, that was tiny, half a teaspoon of each, really.
So not much to worry about. So then we're gonna add our lemon juice to that. So that's gonna be our acid. And then here is our strainer. So you don't get any lemon seeds in there.
Great.
Let you
And from the whole lemon, right?
Yes.
Okay, I've never done this before with the tongs. So I love it.
Super simple.
Yes. There we go. Oh my gosh, the citrus smell, it's just wonderful. Smells clean and fresh and like spring. Not like the weather is out there. I was driving in and the
sky was black.
I know we went from like pleasant weather to like, we're back in Ohio.
February Columbus weather. We love it or we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
OHIO. Okay.
There are definite benefits and downsides. All right, so go ahead and whisk that together, Jenny. And we'll go ahead and stream in our oil. Okay. So this is just olive oil, and you're gonna stream it in slowly because you don't want to break the vinaigrette. So you have the emulsifiers that are gonna keep all of that together or try to bring that all together. And so they essentially are like something that's gonna like hold the molecules together so that you have a really nice dressing. And you normally do a 1-to-2 ratio. So 1 part acid to 2 part oil.
So you could change up your flavors like.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes.
For sure. Every time I would make a new seasonal menu when I was running block, it was like, oh, what kind of fun like vinaigrette could we do this? If we didn't have like a big pop of flavor coming in on the salad itself, it was like we would look for it in the vinaigrette. Yeah, well, let's give it a pinch of salt. Okay, give it a try there, and then we'll taste it and see if it's good. So, like, it looks emulsified and good. Okay. A tiny bit.
That's really good.
Very
It is
lemony
just
and
a
light.
tiny bit of sweet to take away from that acid. Yummy. Looks great. I'm excited about this.
Me too. I'm excited for this plate. I'm like, yeah.
Katie and I usually aren't together in the same kitchen, so this is a real treat for us.
Yeah.
And especially for me because I get to have lunch with her.
Oh, that's true,
afterwards.
because we normally just eat our stuff and
Yes,
silence
eat our stuff
ourselves.
and give each other virtual high fives.
Sometimes I add a little water to cut down on the oil. Yeah, Leslie, for sure. Anything that makes it go well. So like creamy dressings tend to be higher in fat, right? Because they tend to have like dairy or like mayos added to them.
Yeah.
My trick to do that is to add hummus.
Oh, right.
So add like a little bit
So
of
the
hummus
starch
to
from the
it.
bean.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
I
helps
like
like
that.
bring it all together and it makes it really creamy, especially like a roasted garlic hummus to make like a really yummy, creamy, like
Do
lemony
you have any
garlic
of that
dressing.
in this kitchen?
I don't right now, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Shouldn't have brought it up, I guess.
We have extra chickpeas.
Right? Yeah, sure, we can make some. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and just section out our orange for our salad. And then we're just gonna take our knife along the outside and get all of this rind off. And then that also allows us to see all the little sections that we can then just cut right out. Would you want to check on our roasted veggies in the
I
oven?
can smell that.
Me too. That's why I was like, I think we need to look at them.
Okay. Ooh, all right.
Oh, yeah. So there are towels over there. We can grab that. So you can see, obviously there are all these little sections and we're just gonna pop our knife in there and then get them out. So we're gonna do oranges and a little bit of our red onion. Again, if that's just too much onion and you're like, I can't handle that much onion in my life, that's fine. Or you could add some green onions, which tends to be a little bit milder.
What do you think? I see a little dark
Yeah.
here.
I think
on the edge.
this would be totally good. Or we can put it back in until we're done and I think it'll be perfect.
Do you want me to
then.
give it a stir?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So we'll go ahead and finish up our orange. We're gonna have this.
Ooh. I just want to tell everybody, it's like crunchy on the bottom too.
I know that honestly, that's my favorite thing about my baking mat. So like Silpat is the type of like commercial name. It's the actual brand. I bought an off-brand one at Aldi's because they were like $5, but those silicone baking mats are my favorite because for some reason they just seal in that side and it gets this delicious caramelization on the bottom that I love. All right, so we got our oranges sectioned out there. Go ahead and toss these guys over here.
And that's so easy to do, isn't
Oh,
it?
so
It
easy.
looks so fancy when you have it out, but actually if you give it a try, maybe with a smaller knife.
Yeah.
Just to start.
Yeah, maybe with a small one. And we're just gonna go ahead and just cut some really thin slices of our red onion to throw in our salad. I also have some pepitas. some roasted salted pepitas for us to throw in our salad. So this is gonna be delicious. I'm really
Now,
excited.
did you
for
roast
this.
these?
They came roasted, but you can definitely roast.
You can easily do it, right?
Yes, it takes no time. You can do it in the oven, but I personally find that with seeds, it's easier if you just toss them in a saute pan quickly, and it happens a lot faster than you think it's going to.
Right.
So, all right, we've got our.
And you've really shown us a lot of ways to cut an onion today. I mean,
I really make the most of your produce, guys.
it's almost like that's what the class was on.
I feel like we don't need all of this dressing.
Okay.
So one lemon made, let's see how much it made. One lemon made about half a cup of dressing. We definitely don't need half a cup of dressing. So we'll just put a few tablespoons. of
Now you
dressing
could
in
use
there.
this for a marinade too, like throw it on some chicken.
Oh, for sure. Yes. So don't ever, if you make like the whole lemon, don't ever throw it away.
No.
Like, yeah. All right. I think that'll be good.
I'm feeling self-conscious about my garlic mints. It could have been smaller.
No. Well, it could have been smaller, but listen, we're not in that kind of kitchen, Jenny.
Okay. We're talking about nutrition.
Shrodes.
Nutrition.
Garlic is smaller. Mince.
No
it's-
Gordon Ramsay
it's good.
moments today.
Yeah, well, when you like spend that much time in kitchens, that's what you're used to hearing in your head. Jenny, what's our? All right, so what we're gonna do is put the dressing just in the bottom of our bowl. And then since we have these greens that wilt very easily, we are going to add what we'd like to the dressing.
Great tip.
And then we will add our toppings. We'll save the pepitas as like our little garnish on top.
That is so pretty.
And then we're just gonna add a sprinkle of salt and pepper. And if you don't do this normally, give it a try. I feel like personally for me, it makes the difference between really enjoying my salad and just like, I'm eating greens for lunch. This is where I am.
I agree with you. Totally agree with you.
So what you want to do, you don't want to go in and squeeze everything together. You want to go in and lift and kind of just baby your baby greens.
Fold it in.
Fold it in. That's right.
Mm.
You want it to just lightly coat. And you don't want to, take anything away from the
From the taste of the veggies and the
yes.
citrus.
yes,
That vinaigrette is just to complement the
Yes.
natural flavors that are already there.
for sure.
It's wonderful. This healthy salad.
Yeah, and you don't want to start breaking down the lettuce before you even get to enjoy it.
That's a really nice mix. I see chard in there and
Yeah,
it's a really
good one. All right, so
shall I
we're
get
just gonna
that
put this all
out?
together. Yeah, let's get that out. We're gonna toast our tortillas here. So we got this lettuce, and our onions mixed in, and make sure we got a few of our orange sections on there and some pepitas.
This smells
this
so
looks-
good.
And this looks great too. It's coming together.
Beautiful.
All right, so let's get our burner real quick going. And we're just gonna toast our tortillas so that they have a nice char on the outside. I don't know if you do that, but I
I
always do
do.
that. I love it.
And I take a plate about this size after
Uh-huh.
they're charred and I stack them up and I put a lid on it.
Yes, because that extra steam, so that is really, what I did last night is after I fire roasted my jalapeno, I just left that there with the heat. It was kind of warm.
Right.
And then the corn tortillas, they kind of break apart,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
It's,
You have to
they-
be careful with them.
yeah, so I give it a little char and then I shape them when I'm done with it. So here, I'll show you what I
Oh,
do. I
yes.
shape them. Ooh,
Well, that's gonna shape it right away.
yeah, so it's gonna, this one's gonna do what it wants to do.
But that's a great idea to put the fold in it.
Yes.
Because I have noticed that with the corn tortillas, that they're a little less
Yes.
forgiving.
So I do this and then I put it in the bowl that's got the wrap and it gets
Yes.
that heat and it keeps that steam on there
Yep.
for you.
Great.
So it's a really quick burn.
This is a great weeknight meal.
It
I
really
think.
is.
And you can really use any toppings you want.
I agree. I love this meal. We really enjoyed it while I was getting my testing finished last night so that I could make sure I gave you guys all the right portions and whatnot. We really enjoyed it. my husband actually left like a tablespoon of guac left in the bowl. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa.
What is that?
What are you doing? This needs to go.
That little bit of guac would be good with egg whites the next morning.
Ooh, yeah. You do like your egg
I
whites.
do like my egg whites. I'm on a kick right now. Our last
Yeah.
demo, we were talking about greens and how you can get greens in the morning.
Lacey, it didn't take any time at all to put that nice char on there. And then it's gonna add, it really is gonna add to the flavor because you get that toasty
Yes.
char,
Yeah.
which that's what we're looking for. So let's assemble. Okay. This guy, and I'll get a spoon for the guac. Now we enjoyed ours last night with a little bit of sour cream.
So
that's
I
definitely-
noticed here you have fat-free sour cream. So this is a great way to use fat-free sour cream.
Yes.
And that'll take away a little bit from any spiciness is there as well.
And I also didn't put it directly on the taco. I put it off to the side so I could like dip as I
dip it,
wanted.
yeah.
Because if I find that I don't really want it, I don't want it to already be on my taco. There's so much flavor here. If you just want to enjoy it as it is, then
So
enjoy it.
I love how you spread the avocado or the guacamole on half the tortilla shell because not everything's gonna stick.
Yes, everything is gonna stick and all of our beans are gonna stay in there too. So you're not gonna have like beans rolling out of the end of your taco, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Maybe not. How did your boys like this?
It was a little too spicy for them.
Yeah.
So they had it in quesadilla form. What we ended up doing was actually shredding the cauliflower into their quesadilla so that they couldn't really tell that there was cauliflower in their
Nice.
quesadilla.
Very good. I'm sure some of our viewers out there might use that trick.
Yes, for sure. Incognito veggies are where we are right now.
That
Sadly
is
enough.
so pretty.
So yeah, this
Look
is
at
our
this lunch Katie made me.
delicious and
And
nutritious.
all heart healthy. It is Heart Health Month and very diabetes friendly as well. And I could see maybe not even having a tortilla, maybe just having a bigger salad and topping my salad with this warm cauliflower mixture.
So my husband Curtis, he enjoyed his like 2 tacos and then he wanted more. So he went back and made himself a salad and had a taco salad. And yeah,
Yeah,
which he can pack in the calories. So I'm like, you go for it.
it is one of those meals that you can go back for seconds and feel good about it. If you're
Yes.
hungry, it's all non-starchy veggies. There's a little bit of beans, tiny bit of corn.
Mhm.
But I'm not sure that even in a taco, it would add any carbohydrates. So-
Yeah, I really just put the corn in for a little sweetness in with that.
And it gives a different
spiciness.
texture, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure. And then also I feel like we get very stuck on what a traditional taco night looks like. So typically that is when I think about what you're putting together a taco bar with, it's like ground beef that's got the taco seasoning, the cheese, yes, sour cream, full fat sour cream, maybe some shredded lettuce, but it's like iceberg lettuce.
Right.
It doesn't have a lot of nutritional value.
Which I don't mind an iceberg lettuce.
I
sitting on
mean,
that.
yes, for sure. It's
Yeah.
got a lot of water content and it still does
This-
have stuff, but
Power packed with nutrition.
Yeah.
This is a superfood meal.
and the dark leafy greens, like we were talking about the other day, typically the darker leaves mean more nutrient
More
density,
nutrients,
right?
yeah. The more the color, the more nutrients, although cauliflower kind of blows that out of the water.
That's very
It's
true.
very nutritious. But here we're eating the rainbow, right? And I'm sure you've heard that before. Go to the grocery store, fill your basket with a rainbow of color, and then you know you're getting a lot of good nutrients and probably all that you need.
Yeah.
And that's what is here.
And I don't know about you, but like I can always tell when I had dinner and I wake up the next morning how my stomach feels. Tends to tell me kind of how I ate the night before. Like when I wake up and I just feel like my stomach's clean, like and ready for something to eat, some coffee, where if I ate something not that nutritious the night before, I might still feel kind of heavy and dense and Yeah.
I agree with you
Mhm.
completely.
Yeah.
You know I do.
Yeah, I know you do.
Well, let's look and see if there are any questions.
Yeah. Anybody got
Yeah.
any?
What somebody must have asked about pepitas, they're pumpkin seeds.
Yeah.
Sometimes I switch out half the mayo or sour cream for zero fat Greek
You
yogurt.
know what, Leslie? I actually almost made a lime crema with some Greek yogurt to go over this. But you know.
And then someone asked, what about the honey if you have diabetes? So Christine, in half a cup of vinaigrette, there was half a teaspoon of agave. We used agave instead of honey. Agave has a lower glycemic index, but really that honey is not going to do anything to diabetes if you are anything to your blood sugar, if you're eating a portion like this, because that's maybe a teaspoon, not even a teaspoon of that dressing. So this is a way to get that little bit of sweet in and not have to worry about blood sugar going up so quickly. Great question. Well, I don't know, Janet, I don't know what it was that I just mentioned because I didn't see your chat when I should have. So if you want to ask that question again, can you answer the honey question? Okay, we did that. And yum. All right, well, any other questions you have, please ask. I think we got all to all.
I
of
think
them,
so.
Katie.
Yeah, we addressed if you don't have a gas burner and all of that.
And if
Yeah.
you scroll back in the chat, what you're going to see is an invitation to share your creations with us. I gave your email, my
Oh, yeah, yeah.
email. So
Thanks,
if
Jenny.
you happen to take a photo, we'd love to, I love photos. I always
Yeah.
ask for photos of people's food. So tell us what you did, if you enjoyed it, and if you have questions. Sometimes it looks really easy and then we get into it and we think, oh, what did they do? What did they say? Definitely let us know if you have any questions and any nutritional concerns. We can both help answer those. I'm on the nutrition, Katie's on the culinary end.
Yeah, for sure. So Barb, does the Heart Garden start? So Barb, if you're meaning the Ross Garden, that is slated to start in April, barring any complications or setbacks. So I'll definitely, if you're on that mailing list, we'll be sending an update out probably in March about what to expect. So yeah, getting closer.
Great. All right. Well, I'll pop in here real quick. Well, thank you both so much. The meal looked absolutely delicious, made me very hungry. So thank you for that and all of your nutrition tidbits and the cooking and prep tidbits. I have never thought of using tongs to squeeze like the lime and the lemon. That's great. And I saw someone else commenting that. So thank you both so much for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here and take us through all of this.
You'll have to join us next time, Nicole.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes,
Have
I need
some
to
lunch
help.
after.
Yes. I would absolutely love that. So I guess if you have any questions in the last couple minutes, go ahead and put them in the chat while we wait for any last minute ones to come in. I'll just mention I will be sending out a follow-up email later today that I know she put it in the chat, but I'll make sure to include the registration link to their diabetes friendly cooking demo so everyone can get registered for that. And I will also have a link to the recipes again if you didn't see them earlier. And the last thing in there will be a link to a survey. If you could take couple minutes to fill it out. It really does help us better our programming. If you have any topics that you want to see covered in future lunch and learns and events, you know, there's a space to include that in there. So be on the lookout for that email. See, I'm not seeing any questions. I actually have a question of my own that I'll ask since we have a couple minutes.
Sure.
When I was in the store the other day, I never noticed this before. Somehow the cauliflower made me think of it. There was a different colored cauliflower when I was in the store. Purple was the one that stood out to me. I don't know how, I've never seen it before. Is there a difference in the different colored cauliflower and like nutrition value, taste, texture?
Absolutely. Color indicates what kind of vitamins are in there. So
Okay.
have different vitamins than a white or a green cauliflower. And I recently tried purple.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. I don't know if there was a huge flavor difference.
Yeah, I haven't really noticed that there's like a huge flavor difference with things other than like, like red onions tend to have like more of a pungent flavor, but they're still oniony, right? They just tend to have more of that highly concentrated. But I can't say that with cauliflower specifically, I noticed much of a flavor difference. But it's really funny because we do tend to like just associate certain vegetables with certain colors, but like, carrots come in a range of colors. You have purple carrots, orange carrots, yellow carrots, white carrots. And historically speaking, they were really just genetically modified for, I think it was like a king in like the Middle East or something along those lines, who's like preferred orange things. And so that's what we've come with over time.
And I think the carrots have different flavors.
I do think that they tend to have flavors. Like the lighter colors, I feel like tend to be milder and a little sweeter. And I feel like the purple ones tend to have like a little bit more of a bite to them, but I don't know how you feel about it.
I feel like I want to eat the rest of this.
Okay.
It's so delicious.
Yes, thank you guys both. I was wondering that, and you two were perfect ones to ask. So
yeah, for sure. And I will say before we hop off that the nutritionals that were calculated for the salad are more for like a double portion of what we ate here. So that was if you're eating that salad as an entree just by itself. So we had about half of that portion here. And like I said, the only thing I forgot to put on the taco recipe was the tomato paste, but it wouldn't necessarily make a huge difference. But I can always email you that updated on there so you could send it out with a follow-up email.
sure. Yeah, that would be great.
Awesome.
All right. Well, I think that is all we have. I don't see any more. The last question I see is asking Jenny, how is it tasting? Is it good? What's the verdict?
It's gone.
It's gone, so it's good.
It tastes amazing. I really like the addition of that tomato paste.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to make this at home.
How do you feel like then the like coating, the texture? Like, do you feel like it's something that
Don't skip the coating.
yeah.
I can see where you might be tempted just to roast your vegetables and then put them in the taco shell, but this makes it something special. This makes, there's so much flavor and it does give it a slightly interesting texture. So I will do it just exactly the way you've done it today.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Glad to hear
I
that.
might try broccoli.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm a huge
yum.
broccoli fan. Get those little flowerets, little crispy onions.
And you can use that trick with just about like any flavor profile. So if you wanted to do like an Italian version of this, you could do the
right.
tomato paste with like that, like Mrs. Dash Italian seasoning and
I
have
love
that
that.
really crisp, like those crispy veggies that way.
Tomato basil something
Yes.
is the Mrs. Dash that I love to use.
Oh yeah, tomato basil onion. We used that the other
Yes, I
day.
love that one. Yeah, so if any of you do that and you alter it a little bit, let us know.
Yeah, let us know how it turns out.
Maybe we'll put it in a diabetes friendly cooking demo.
Ooh, yeah.
You'll see it again. All right.
All right, guys.
Thank you both so much for your expertise and being here with us today. Thank you to everyone who joined us and tuned in and was active in the chat. So we had a lot going on in there. So thank you, everybody, and have a great Friday.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Bye,
Have a
guys.
great weekend.